Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI Agents Hour. I'm Shane. I'm here with Abhi.
What up?
And we're not doing this on Monday, although we normally do. Today's Tuesday, but it is a special day today because it's our 50th episode. Who would have thought?
Yeah, dude, 50 episodes deep.
Yeah, who would have thought we made it this long? I'm still surprised. And we still, clearly, if you're watching, we barely know what we're doing, but we're here. We show up every week, and so hopefully you all do as well. This is live, so if you're watching it live, you're on X, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn even. Drop comments. We will chat along the way. But we do have a pretty awesome episode. But I thought before we dive into that, do you have any highlights from the last, it's almost been a year. It's been not the better part of a year for sure. 50 episodes. What's the vibe? How are you feeling? What's your favorite moments?
We've got to talk to a lot of great people working in the industry with us. Many of them friends, and some of them never met never met ever, right? So it's been really cool. The condom episode, definitely great. Last week's episode was good. We've been having some bangers.
Yeah, I do feel like they're getting more fun at least. I don't know if they're getting better, but I'm having more fun doing it.
Yeah, they're definitely more fun, and I think by definition, I think are getting better for sure. Yeah, it's way more fun because in the beginning we just live streamed random stuff. We didn't have like a show structure, which is nice.
Yeah. Now we actually, we have a semblance of an agenda when we come in. We try to bring in interesting people, from across the space to teach us things so we can learn from, so we can ask questions. And yeah, we talk about some of the drama, of course, that's always fun, but also just the general news and what's going on.
Dude, I found out that my parents watched this show, and when I saw them like this weekend.
No, so did you I'm guessing your first reaction was, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't swear as much.
That's exactly what they told me, dude. That's exactly what they told me. They were like, hey, you shouldn't swear so much.
I knew it. I don't even know your parents, but I know your parents.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly exactly.
Dude, that's kind of funny.
I told them I can't change who I am,
You got to lean into it, I guess, if you're listening in the chat, what do you think? What's your favorite moments from the 50 episode series so far? I still, I don't know, I remember, obviously, I think the guests are the coolest part because we just get to talk to people, and it's a little bit different than, of course, we met some of them in person, we see them at events, but it's also nice just to chat, but you're doing it in public, so you can ask them some things, and they'll usually, like, the amount of things that they'll share openly is always really interesting, because I feel like whether it's Professor Andy or Ali, some of the recurring guests, but also some of the people that we just talked to once, you just learn a bunch, get to ask some interesting questions. I think that's one of the more fun things. And then just talking crap about all the AI drama is always fun in the news. Hashim says that the MCP drama episodes.
Oh, yeah, those are recent.
Yeah, those are in the last couple months. Last month or so, actually. Did you hear how the MCP debate went? I didn't actually tune in. We had Ali on last week. We talked about the MCP debate. So speaking of MCP drama.
Yeah, so let's just say it was inconclusive.
As expected.
Yeah, inconclusive. So both sides won.
So. Yeah, I mean, both sides got some attention.
Both sides got attention for sure.
It's like, I don't want to say it's like politics, but in some ways, it's like if you already came in with a certain thing, you just supported the person that had your opinion, right? And I think they were probably, I'm guessing they were both pretty measured, right? Like it was probably pretty civil debate. But yeah, I think you kind of just like side, you're like, yeah, that was a point for us. That was a point for this side. So
yeah, I can't wait till the episode. I want to see the full episode. But they were talking on X, like MCP is here to stay. So yeah, where was it going to go?
I don't think it's going away for sure. Unrelated to the 50th episode, there was another big NPM attack.
Oh, dude, this one is so good.
Dude, I just saw the link where you could refresh and see all the different repos that we're getting. Like, just
Yeah. I can talk about this one.
yeah, I didn't do too much research other than I know there was a ton of big names that were impacted, which is never
Yeah.
good.
So for people listening, like when these things happen, it's called like a supply chain attack. What is a supply chain attack? Is when like an attacker hits different like processes of your app. Like it could be your CI/CD pipeline, it could be production, anything that it's essentially like hijacking keys and then running stuff. But how do they do that? They have to infiltrate you somehow, and the attack vector are npm packages because they're a dwarf star, right? There's so much cruft in npm. People are downloading modules from all over the place. So what you do is you impact a smallest module somewhere in the dependency graph, and everyone has to install, and then you can get into like backdoor channels there, because when npm install runs, it can run pre-install scripts and post-install scripts where the attacker then just jumps in and steals all your shit. Damn, I was promised I was going to cuss this episode, but I already screwed up. But
It's
and that's
early.
what this
I mean,
attack.
you made it. You did valiantly. You did like 11 minutes.
I did
That
pretty
might be
good.
the
I did pretty good. So this particular supply chain attack has been ongoing, and it's called Shai Hulud from like Dune. So I like it. It's a cool name, and honestly, it's very like smart. So I have a link. Let's put it in the chat. Y'all can go geek out over this, because sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I feel like evil or something because I'm thinking about it from like the attacker's perspective. I'm like, damn, that's very like, how clever are you? But then all these people are compromised, and there's probably a bunch of like credential theft happening for anyone using some of those modules. So that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this stuff happens more and more. It's not. It's npm obviously is a big player, but this happens all the time across different attack surfaces. And I guess that's why security is important. But even even when you think you're secure, you're probably not as secure as you think.
Yeah, that's how you get your app held for ransom and shit,
Yeah,
which happens.
does it? Yeah,
Y'all, it
it
happens.
does. It does happen. This does remind me, and we have a guest coming soon, so we're gonna bring that guest on. But I do like related to the like I've never actively held anything for ransom, but I did play a prank once where I did. So
Okay.
my old boss, long time ago, not the most technical person, and I like was running a small development team. We're like, we should just play a prank on him. He's a fun guy. Like we had a good time. We had a good relationship. So I just like logged into his printer and I printed out like a message, like a McAfee antivirus message, and I basically said like your network's compromised. Like here's how you have to do this. And he was freaking out and like took it seriously. He came in and showed me, and then I pulled up CNN, and then I like obviously just like modified the HTML because you can do that, and he doesn't know. And like, yeah, like it's already on CNN, and like our name is on there.
Oh
Like,
my
did you know this? It's like the name of the company. And he was like losing his mind for like half an hour. He thought he was like the company's done, like the whole thing. Like we didn't have them. Like it was a lot of money. Like I don't know, terrible prank to pull on someone
That
because
is a really bad one, dude.
so I'm not the most proud of it. I was young. Tech savvy and dumb. So, Carter, if you're listening, I'm sorry. It was very funny for the team though. The team loved it. You did not. I don't pull pranks like that anymore. So someday I will be on the receiving end. Karma's going to come back and get me for that. I know
Sure.
it. But
For sure.
anyways, with that, again, this is live. Leave us some comments, leave us some chat messages. If you're not watching this live, if you're listening later or watching on Spotify, listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a review. We do like the 5-star reviews. If you don't want to leave a 5-star review, please find something else to do and don't leave a review at all. But we do appreciate the 5 stars. Today we have Tony from Runloop coming on. We're gonna a new segment I'm calling Phone a Farmer, where we bring on Ward from the team, who's our resident farmer.
Hell yeah.
We're going to talk about an agent in every Slack with Grayson from the Mastra team. We're going to talk AI news. Obviously, there's some big ones. There's some big things to talk about here between Opus, Gemini, and a whole bunch of other things. And so we're going to have a whole bunch of people from the Mastra team to celebrate. It's the 50th episode. We want to have a lot of guests from the team that maybe haven't been on the show for a while. But should we call in the first guest?
Let's do it.
And I say call in like they're calling on the phone, but just click a button and he'll be here. Tony, what's up?
Am I here? I'm here. Hello.
You're
You're
here.
here. You're on the show. Well, welcome.
Thank you for the welcome. I'm honored to be on the 50th episode. My goodness.
Yeah, it's a big one. Hopefully we're gonna get dozens of views on this. And by dozens, I mean
could you imagine?
Hopefully,
you crack
low
50
thousands
views for the 50th episode. That's it's written in the stars.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, let's get 50 reviews for the 50th episode. If you've been holding out on waiting on reviewing us, or this now is the time. Even if you don't, here's the thing: even if you don't watch it on Spotify, you could still give us a review. Just go watch part of an episode and give us that review. If you watch it on YouTube, we could still appreciate the Spotify or the Apple Podcast reviews. So let's get 50 reviews. That's a good goal.
That's a good goal.
Thanks for coming today, Tony. What you got for us?
Yeah. First of all, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, we chatted at the TSAI Comp, 3 weeks ago or so now, and we kind of set this up. But tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Runloop, and then I'm sure we have a lot we can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to give some context for all our viewers. So I'm Tony. I work at Runloop as a software engineer. My background is kind of in full stack engineering. I went to Waterloo in Canada. Now, living in San Francisco, where the weather is a bit more suitable to my preferences. At Runloop specifically, we build kind of just a sandbox platform for running agents on. We think we're differentiated because we have, I think, really good enterprise scale, as well as I think some tools around actually deploying agents, especially integrated with Mastra that we're going to show off in a demo later today. I was thinking of showing a little bit about the Mastra Studio, working with an agent locally or even an agent on Runloop, making code in dev boxes and just seeing how those previews might look. How does that sound, boys?
I mean,
great.
People that watch the show love to see demos.
Yeah.
It inspires a lot of ideas and things that they can pull into their work. So I think that sounds great. Before we do, how long you been at Runloop?
I've been at Runloop for almost do the math. For just about 6 months now, just about half a year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think it's really cool. I think working in an AI company like Mastra, working in a company like Runloop, I think you're on the cutting edge of this kind of stuff. At least within Runloop, we do use a lot of AI to kind of write whatever code that isn't Kubernetes. I think the models don't quite have enough training data on Kubernetes so far to write actually working code, but we'll get there soon.
That makes me feel better, because if the models can't understand Kubernetes, how the hell am I supposed to? So it makes me feel a little better that there's there's other smart people that can handle that. It's not me.
Yeah, or the knowledge hasn't been added to the training sets yet. It's hidden somewhere. We'll see if they can find a way to unlock it.
It's in a few dozen engineers' minds, maybe a few thousand, but yeah.
Tony, I've been feeling that sandboxes has become a very popular term over the last couple of weeks, and it just keeps coming up. Different providers also, the big boys magically having sandboxes themselves. Can you explain why do people need to care about sandboxes? Because I do think it's an important topic in AI engineering.
Yeah. The high level is just I think embracing AI, wholeheartedly is something that I believe in, but you just have to, I think, set some expectations around what it can do, just the idea of having the Shai-Hulud worm and NPM, something that's used everywhere. If you could imagine how agents work, they're making sometimes hundreds of tool calls in the background. There's a lot of work or that bad actors are doing around injecting code, injecting kind of different prompts, and essentially you would like the agent's outputs to be sandboxed in a way where they can't possibly affect any other files. So for example, I don't know how you two use your agents, but I really like to be able to use auto approve, or to use YOLO mode, just not approve anything, because I think the models are good enough. But running that way, I think really requires a sandbox just because like you're basically like one accidental CD away from like like destroying code, from making like destructive changes, and just having this like idea that we have a container for the code, we have a specific context that we're working in, and then being able to like use that mental model for like keeping agents like limited to their scope is, I think, sandboxes.
Yeah.
Like a really good thing for sandboxes.
Yeah, I mean, another way that I've always thought of sandboxes, another good use case is if you want your agent itself to be able to write and then execute its own code as well, right? It's like you can kind of limit the surface area of damage that agent can cause because it's limited to kind of that sandbox environment.
Yeah. And then also it's like, especially if then even if anything happens, you just delete the sandbox, spin up another one, spin up a few. The other direction for this too is like part of Runloop's idea is that as we get to this like this era where people are doing like more fine tuning, like like thinking machine labs is like trying to raising at like another like crazy valuation to like support their like fine tuning API. We think that like it's worth testing like a single task on like multiple different agents perhaps, and like having one sandbox per agent just like really helps you like compare and contrast like specific outputs from different agents, and then you can even compare them simultaneously if you're running in a sandbox way. If you can like do this kind of with Git work trees like locally, and then like with like local sandboxing, but like at a certain point you run into constraints with your own computer, you run into constraints with like having to manage that context yourself. And I think just like this idea of like a sandbox in the cloud is like a scalable and kind of like more like digestible like infrastructure paradigm, at least for human brains.
Are more users using the sandboxes as like an agent will spin it up, execute whatever things it needs to do within the sandbox and keep it up or like close it off or whatever? Do people, and in the converse of that, do people run agents within sandboxes?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Runloop is like an infrastructure company. So I talk a lot with the customers that use Runloop as a platform. We're seeing like a divide. Like some people like really don't believe agents should run in the same place as the code. So the code stays on the sandbox, agent lives off the sandbox, and then people will write code to the sandbox and execute code there. Well, other people really believe that just adds an extra step of latency. They want to like ship fast. They want to keep the sandbox, the agent on the box with the code at the same time. So I think we're seeing both versions of it. We'll see which way comes out ahead. My personal pick is running the agent on the box to really get rid of any possible latency. Then the agent can actually like use tools on the box because it's just like a micro VM with Linux tools.
Yeah.
I think part of like what makes just like things like Claude Code, part of it makes like just these like CLI, these agents good is that they can just use like shell scripts on the actual sandbox itself, and having those be called faster, having the inputs return faster, I think speeds up development.
No, that's really cool, because I think that's where the conversation is kind of headed to with sandboxes. Because along with sandboxes, code mode, this whole code mode concept is also gaining some like experimentation, right? People are trying it out, which is also sandbox as like a critical infrastructure there for that, if you think about it.
Yeah. I also see a lot of similarity between sandboxes and RL environments as well. There's like, in fine tuning and training, it's not exactly the same, but there's like all these different things that are starting to pop up where there's enough similarities that companies are going to start kind of cross contaminating, if you will, into these other areas because they're so like parallel, right? They're so close to each other.
Yeah. Especially in the context of agents too. Like part of, I think like we really think at Runloop that maybe the sandbox itself is going to become kind of like commoditized. So we're just going to be like racing to the bottom. But around that, we kind of built out like this idea of like a benchmark tool. So if you can have a reproducible sandbox environment, and then you can swap in different agents. So you always have like a defined task at input, you change your agent up, you can really set up like more like multi-stage, multi-turn evals as well. So once maybe like the sandbox infrastructure is like just expected and we kind of move towards that field, then like the tools around the sandbox, tools around the agents, I think will be the more interesting discussion.
For sure, dude. For sure.
Yeah,
Because like the sandbox is the primitive.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's very similar in like models as well. Like models are, a lot of models are starting to coalesce on some of the same features, right? But now they're adding tools and stuff on top of the models to make the models more agentic. Sandboxes are a primitive, same thing, adding tools. Even like with Mastra is an agent framework. Agent frameworks, there's not that much difference between the frameworks, which is actually a good thing because they're starting to coalesce on, we have similar APIs, we can do similar things, but the tooling around the framework starts to become more interesting then. So I think that seems like a natural progression.
Yeah, absolutely. And then especially like it's the tooling, then it's an interesting discussion too, because like I'm using Mastra Studio as like a human, right? And the tooling works excellent for a human. Then like at a certain point, I think we start talking about like how does the tooling help agents, where you have like agents writing new Mastra frameworks, and like what's the best way to expose like only the relevant information to agents, and then like that tooling, I think then to start like picking your audience versus you're writing for agents or writing for humans. That's who's to say if you like trust those AI timeline things, that might be happening as soon as like 2026, like early next year. Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of discussion about like parallelism in Claude codes, and companies like Conductor that are trying to speed up developers. I met someone last week that has 2 computers that runs, however many that they can on 2 computers, which is honestly just different. That's interesting, but
Yeah.
that's why I just think, the sandbox it all comes back to like the sandbox primitive being able to just run compute for untrusted code.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, should we see your demo?
Yeah, let's take a look. We're doing it live, so here's hoping that it behaves.
If it doesn't, the audience understands. It's a live demo. We've all been there.
We've all been there, right? Okay, great. I'm like zooming in. So I got 2 kind of versions of this, but just the core is just showing like the Mastra Studio using an agent on a Runloop box. I'm going to try this.
Can you click
first.
Can you click zoom? Zoom in another click or 2. There you go. That's a little bit
Amazing.
better.
So you see I've got this like fancy wacky URL. It's because I'm trying to run Mastra Studio from within a dev box. The hope is, talking about this idea of like having agents use the tools. If you keep Mastra Studio in the dev box, then an agent can be operating on Mastra Studio. So I'm going to be the agent here today, though.
Sick.
I've got this idea of just like, I want to just like see a simple app with a front end and show it on the tunnel. So these like tools around interacting with the sandbox, I think are going to be really interesting. Runloop has a way, like if you see this tunnel, this dev box is running inside Runloop here. We have a second box that's just spun up right now by the agent. And we can see that it's like running our tools, creating a sandbox, writing some files. This is a concept of like, so we have one agent that's like living, it's on box A. It's spun up a second box, and now it's executing all of its code onto this like second box. And this work? What's it looking at? We have quick output. So it's set up a Node.js server using Express, set up a basic front end, made a tunnel. Let's go to the tunnel URL. Interesting.
502, no.
Story of my life. Let's see if we can debug it.
The amount of times I've seen an Nginx 502 error in my life doing web dev in my past. This is like PTSD from like 15 years ago for me.
Yeah, PTSD for sure.
Running my own Nginx, literally in my own server underneath my basement stairs. Just
right.
All kinds of.
Dude, but the Cloudflare 502 is the new Nginx 502.
It's so true, isn't it? What's cool is I think part of how this is done is I added like tools in Mastra. So I made a create tunnel tool that is set up so that it links the sandbox ID and then a specific port to expose. This is something that basically allows like a little bit of like a human in the loop in the situation. We'll see if it tries to like fix itself. Here's hoping it fixes itself. But what's cool is you can take a look at the actual commands being run here.
That's awesome.
One thing we can take a look at is if you can't actually find express, then maybe that's the issue.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can tell the agent that. That'd be good if you could imagine installing Express.
Yeah.
We have a
maybe.
coding agent in Monster Studio right now. It's pretty crazy. I like it.
But the what's interesting is this idea that like it's in one box, it's running on the second box. Let's see if we fixed itself. Hey!
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Let's go.
Dude, this is the future. I can see the future and how to develop like this, right? Because you could do so much stuff in parallel too.
Yeah. I think some of the more interesting tools that I added this as well. It's like maybe something like I like this app.
Ooh. Dude, Tony's coming with the heat on the 50th episode.
Yeah, this is legit.
That's really sick.
It's exciting. So what's cool is like this is another tool that I wrote that linked into like Runloop's APIs. What we're doing is we're creating a disk snapshot of the sandbox. So we have what is like a template for running future sandboxes from. One of the flows that we see that's like really interesting as like a developer is if you like are taking like multi steps to like finishing a feature, you can take a snapshot at a specific time and then like have your agent maybe run multiple versions, like variations of this feature, and then compare and take the one that you like the best.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's see. We should have a new snapshot. I made sure it should tag itself as a Mastra snapshot too. Nice, a simple web app from Mastra with the source sandbox. Well, look at that, amazing.
Dude, that's legit.
Yeah. The other thing that we think is cool in terms of like, we have Studio running on the cloud, but like sometimes you don't actually need the Studio running. I have here what we have like called our agents tab. So like Mastra has a way like you can run Mastra build and you can like export everything into like one directory. So in Runloop, what you can do is you can upload your agent like from a directory, and then what it'll do is you can start a dev box with the directory, and then it takes the Mastra like framework that you've like set up. It takes your agent, takes your tools, and loads it onto a dev box immediately. And then you can then like after you're done tinkering with the Studio, start like hundreds of dev boxes, thousands of dev boxes with the agent that you tuned here. So you can build a simple app web builder like at scale.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So that would just run my Mastra agent, and I could hit it through the API if I wanted to, or connect with it anyway.
Yeah. One flow that we see is like on Runloop specifically, you can SSH into like a box directly. And then like inside the web terminal, you could like run, or you could run like node like CLI.js for like running your Mastra agent.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what did we show? We showed Mastra Studio running inside a dev box. We have Mastra Studio running inside this dev box. Mastra like then made a dev box itself and then made a cool little web app that we can see here. We took a snapshot of that dev box so we can make more versions of the web app if we want to, or we can take a snapshot of this studio, kind of fork that off into different ways, upload into like other studios as well. What other cool things can I show? We also had this idea of like you can do human in the loop as well. So we're using like VS Code Server. Let's hope this works. But this just installs like code server onto the dev box. We have like network controls that you can enable. So to control ingress, egress, just depending on like how you kind of want to manage your agent. I think the one thing that we're going to see is like making sure that you limit ingress maybe like only from specific origins, as like agents get more complicated, to kind of like manage the security aspect of it. Can we see? Oh, amazing. I'm glad this worked. So this is cool because now like we have our Express server here that is actually on the like running live. So in terms of like a human in the loop flow, we can like just go edit the index and say like saving. We should see it refresh. Hey,
That's cool.
yeah,
Dude, that's legit.
Yeah.
Excited.
That's
I'm happy
legit.
this works. But I think it's like as someone who like works with AI and like just sees it, you know, every day, it's really cool. Just like I think mapping what are like human actions that I would do to maybe like build something like this, like literally like as a human, I would be running commands in my brain to write code, writing files, and then like checking my like self, and then being able to map that like in Mastra tools, and then see that kind of be shown in like a physical form, and then have that just like beat on infrastructure that runs in the cloud. I think all these are just like concepts that just blow my mind every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's legit, dude. It's
Mhm.
really cool. It's the
Yeah.
future too.
It is the
Future.
future. Anything else you guys want to see?
I'm blown away already.
Yeah. No, I think if you know, to catch people up, if you're just tuning in, Tony from Runloop showing us his code agent that runs in a Runloop dev box and creating snapshots and all that. So if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. Tony, how do people, if someone wants to play around with something like this, how would you recommend they get started?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mastra makes it really easy. If you download Mastra locally, just create a new Mastra app. Once you're done creating a new Mastra app, I would say you could just upload an agent on Runloop after you sign up at platform.runloop.ai. I was testing this as well, pros and cons. We have public blueprints that are available. We're going to make a Runloop /Mastra template available, so you can like build a new dev box with Mastra Studio on it, and actually like see your agent running live in the cloud as well. I think that might be, two different angles if you want to develop on the cloud versus you want to develop locally. And then as soon as you have something working, I would say build it, load it onto the agents tab, and start running boxes with it.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely a room for us to take the tools that you have set up here and figure out how do we get that as a template for someone who wants to build with Mastra, but give their Mastra agent access to all these cool Runloop tools.
Yeah, for sure. And just like talking about this too, like we have this idea of like just building coding agents, because I think like thinking about things like problems as code is pretty easy. But I saw the agenda a little bit. As you're going to talk about like Opus and Gemini moving forward, I think these agents are just better at taking like non-coding problems, like planning a trip or something, and then bringing that into like framing that almost as like a coding problem and working through it. So when you have sandboxes, like as well as like executing code, there's a way in Runloop where you can bring in files via our object store. So if you are just running a specific like report, you don't want to have your agent accidentally delete data in prod, delete data like a link drive or something. You could like have it work through specific tasks in isolated environments. And I think once like this inside the coding space like diffuses out and people start using agents like in like non-coding areas, this could be a really cool like extension of the Mastra framework, a really cool application of it.
Definitely, dude.
Mhm.
Definitely. There's a lot of use cases that are starting to come out of like in the real world, let's say, not in our coding agent world.
Yeah.
And it's still really all about documents and files and shit like that,
Yeah, it turns out what is the thing? My role in life was to turn unstructured data into structured insights.
Yeah.
We're thankfully we have agents to do that for us soon enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, Tony, how can people follow along with you?
I'm available at tony@runloop.ai. Runloop, if you sign up for us at runloop.ai, that's runloop.ai. You get $50 in credits for computing, running in boxes. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email and I'll get back to you right away. Hopefully you guys build something really cool.
Yeah, and we got Juan in the chat. Can't wait to try this out myself.
Yeah.
Droid Jam says, looks solid. Congrats.
Thanks. Appreciate the
Cool.
comments, everybody.
All right, Tony. Well, we'll have you come back on again in the future and show us other cool stuff. So if you ever are launching anything cool at Runloop, you have a place to show it here on the show. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Shane, for both your time.
Yeah, dude.
Enjoy the
Man.
rest of the 50th episode. Take
Yeah,
care.
good to see you again, dude.
All right, later.
That was dope.
That was a fire demo.
Fire, dude. We're bringing straight fire.
Yeah. Well, the show must go on, and this is a segment I've been looking forward to because we haven't had Ward on for a while, and so
Yeah.
we're calling this phone a farmer. But what's the context? What are we doing here?
What are we doing with
Yeah,
Ward?
yeah. What phone a farmer? Why are we calling in farmers on an AI agent show?
Well, you know, because farmers are a level above principal engineer, and we have a lot of Mastra things that we want to talk about in engineering. So we got to bring the guy who's above principal.
Yeah,
to talk to everyone.
farmers over principals. That was
Farmers over
for those that
principals.
didn't see the meme. There was a meme that says like if you graduate from principal engineer to farmer, and Ward happens to be, I guess, both. You know, he's so
He's the founding farmer engineer.
the founding farmer. Ward is the founding, not the founding father. He's the founding farmer of Mastra.
Founding farmer.
So,
Ward.
welcome.
It's a title they cannot take away from me now.
No.
The founding farmer, one of the founding engineers of Mastra. But yeah, we wanted to bring Ward on because we announced at the TSAI Comp 3 weeks ago ish now that 1.0 was coming. We have one V1 in beta right now, and I thought it'd be a great time to recap the progress, recap the plans, how are things going, what can people expect, and yeah, just talk about Mastra in general. So
yeah, I probably forget a couple of things because we're like making so much progress on 1.0 in general, but in hindsight, or like how do you say it, basically we're just making Mastra more mature. Like we had so many APIs, experiments, all those kind of things, and now we're basically found more or less all the APIs we want to have, and then we can deprecate all the old things. And I would say we're just trying to make the DX well enough, because sometimes we call something like get agents, sometimes it's like list memory, those kind of things, and now they're all like one thing. But if we want to go through the list, there's so much. So I think the biggest ones are, let's see, scorers are now like evals are not there anymore. We're like deprecating them, and we're now calling them scorers, like a way better API in general to test all the LLM stuff you do with it, like agent workflows, everything. What else? Like the storage layer is now going to be composite, if that's the right term in English, where you basically can choose what storage you want for which layer. Like before, it was basically you attach it to Mastra and then everything was using it. So now you can basically say, I want observability to use this storage. I want my messages like be stored in something else, because different entities need different storage options. Like observability doesn't really make much sense in Postgres, so why would you store it there and not in like a ClickHouse or any other whatever it's called, like a relational database,
like a higher throughput database, because we've noticed with observability it's very write heavy, right? You're sending tons of traces, so you might want a different database for that.
What else? I think we're doing a big push for like AI SDK and just client.js in general. We're backporting a lot to 0.x. So what we've seen is the client SDK that we have was basically a fetch client. So it was just wrapping REST APIs. And now we're basically making it identical, or trying to make it as identical as we can, similar to Mastra core. So if you do like generate or stream on the client.js, you get exactly the same output as you would do it on the server side, just to make that DX way nicer. We're also like putting a lot of effort in the AI SDK use chat hooks. There's still some problems, or people like testing things out and say like, hey, this isn't working, so we're just adding a lot of more things, because Mastra has more features than AIZK today. Like, I think last week we made a pull request to support tripwire. Like when you basically do a request to an AI agent and you do like input processor or output processor, you want to maybe stop the output or input to reach the LM or the user. And AIZK cannot do that today, I believe. Maybe 0.6 can do it, but I don't think so. So you're basically sending like a custom data part to the user instead of crashing the use chat hook, basically. What else?
So we got a question that's probably worth at least briefly talking about, and I'm happy to start, but feel free to jump in, either of you. So what time frame would you say is realistic for the stable V1 release? Well, the first thing was, we want to make sure it's right. That's the most important part. So it will definitely go out when it's ready, but we are anticipating, originally we were aiming for end of the year, but I think the plan right now is probably around the first to second week of January, but a little bit TBD on that.
Yeah, that's my guess too. With all the holidays, like this week is like holidays for the US, and then Christmas is coming too, which is both US and EU, but I think it's might be bigger in EU because we don't take days off now, so we take them off at Christmas. So I think it's just the timelines. I think it's better to say January. And I think we're almost there. We're basically at like paper cuts. I'm pretty sure almost all breaking changes are in. There might be like one or two left.
We have one breaking change left, or I think we have two. We have two major breaking changes left. One is moving Mastra memory to be a processor, so you can. So I mean, that's just for future stuff. Doesn't really impact anything for our user, but technically, if our memory is in a processor, you could use memory in other places. So that's one thing.
And also, once memory moves to being a processor, it makes it easier for you to roll it yourself if you needed to, right? I mean, it's just a processor, so you could take our memory, extend it, create your own, use it as an example. So we think our memory is really good and we're making it better, but maybe your specific use case needs something slightly different. And so if it's just a processor, now you can, you have full control over it. So it definitely gives you more control.
Yeah, use case I got from some of our users is that they want to get information from memory or working memory, but they don't want it to be saved in like the messages in the thread again. So just wants like give me the information and then use it for maybe a tool call or maybe just pass it to the LLM, but they don't want it to be stored again as part of the history, basically. So that will be possible with the memory processors.
So Eric says, yes, I'm evaluating Mastra and we need it to work with our AI memory platform. Well, you should be able to take our example and just use your memory as input and output processors. That's what, input and output processors are commonly used for guardrails. It can be used for memory. It's honestly like tools around the context engineering you need to do. And that's what memory does. So Eric, hopefully you should be able to do that today. But if you have trouble, you know where to reach us.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that's the most noteworthy. I don't know if we should talk about Mastra server already, or that's for another day.
We could talk about it because it's part of V1. Go ahead, Ward. You can talk about it if you want.
So what we've seen is with Mastra Dev and Build, we're doing a lot of bundle work to host on like serverless, like Vercel, Cloudflare, and bundling is like a very hard problem. And there's so many different packages in the world, like very old ones, very new ones. The older ones mostly give us problems, and for some people it's a stopgap. They can't get the build to work, so they can't get Mastra Studio or the Mastra project running, which is like very sad. So we're basically building like Mastra Server, which is a standalone version of the like all the APIs that we have. So for example, the get agent, the stream, all at the same, like you get the whole suite that is compatible with Studio. So you don't have to like create the endpoints yourself. And then a cherry on top is it's like adapter based. So you can use like Hono, which we use by default, or you can use Express or Nest.js or build your own. So basically it's a way to don't use the bundler basically if you don't need to. And most enterprise, or if you're running in Docker or your own infra, there's no real point to bundle because you have enough space, or you can attach enough space to host it, because the bundling is only necessary for like lambdas where it's 250 megabyte is like the max. I don't know what Cloudflare is, but if you have like one local LLM or just some binaries, you go over pretty easily. Even if you might not use it, it might still be part of the node modules. And with bundling, you can basically remove the unused code.
Yeah, and it also opens up if you have your own bundling process, right? It just now you don't now you just use it with whatever you have, so you don't have to worry about having your bundler and then our bundler and making them all play nice together. So I think it's going to be a huge escape hatch for people that are running into, they want Mastra, but they don't want to deal with all the bundling nightmare that comes with just sometimes TypeScript packages that have to play nice together.
Yeah, and then I can get back to my life.
Yeah.
We call Ward the bundle Ruski for a reason, because there's very few people that would even want to try to do what he tries to do.
Yeah, dude. The bundle.
I don't know if I want to.
Yeah. Well, now you won't have to anymore, dude.
Now you won't have to, because it's just like, here, you're having issues. Here's the escape hatch, so you have full control and you can bundle it or not bundle it. But if you want to bundle it however you want.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
And then all those issues start to go away.
So like back to the V1 thing, the question Sebastian had is like these are big things that are part of V1. And once those are good, we'll feel more comfortable. On another thing, the whole team is essentially destroying every bug that exists. And we have goals for that. So anyone listening who's helped by opening PRs and everything, I see y'all in
issues.
Opening issues. Thank you very much, because we're going hard on trying to get to that count down to a very low number.
Yes, we definitely appreciate the issues, the PRs, all the help.
Like Sebastian is in Discord and is very helpful. So thank you, Sebastian. He's watching the show. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you're not on our Discord, join it. It's a fun place to be. Go hang out in our Discord. The Mastra.ai has a link on the website, so join us. All right, what else? Anything else we should chat about, Ward?
So Ward, did you buy that farmhouse right next to your house?
I made an offer, but it's still not accepted. But I don't think so.
This is news. I've not heard. I knew we talked about it when I was in. So Ward is a farmer in Belgium. I'm not going to try to pronounce the city because I can't.
Don't dox him,
I get I don't want to anyways. It's not that big. But Ward is a farmer in Belgium, and you made an offer on that other farmhouse next to you, huh?
Yes. They put it on sale, I think, 2 weeks ago. So I made an offer immediately that I want to buy it. Went to the bank and everything. So I'll be in debt even more. But I think I made a good offer, but we'll see if they accept it. There's not that much people looking at it, because I already think I paid too much for it. But they, like, at least in Belgium, they're saying you're always paid too much for your neighbor's house.
Ward, there's a strategy in the US. Like, anytime someone comes and looks at it, you just have to seem like you're an unruly neighbor, and no one's gonna I don't want to live next to that guy. So he's a little sabotage. No,
just put litter everywhere, like run naked in my backyard doing the horses.
I don't know about that. That might get you in jail, but yes, there are many ways. If someone comes and talks to you, you're like, yeah, my goats just make so much noise. They're just making so much noise all the time. I don't, like, I don't want to be next to someone who has goats that are making a lot of noise.
Dude, I'm hoping. Oh, nice.
Yeah, Conebrink says you guys are really good at responding to issues and take feedback well, so you're doing a good job on that. Thank you. And Sebastian says not participating in a lot of communities, but the kind of activity in the Discord and the way you integrate it into your development cycle is very pleasing. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you. And Cohen Brink is Volcano on Discord, which we all know. Thanks, dude. See, you know that we're in the Discord when we know you by your Discord name. That's tight.
All right.
Thanks for watching the show.
And now I have, if I can get the house, I have to like refurbish it a bit so Abhi can stay there and doesn't have to go to the local hotel anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the local hotel, but next time I visit, I would love to have a place to hang out.
Yeah, dude, that's me sick, dude. Dude,
if you get the house, Abhi and I are gonna come together. That's the play.
Good. I'll be there.
Let's
you know how much I spent on hotels in the last 4 years in Belgium in that same hotel. Like, I'm probably their best customer.
You're keeping them in business.
Yeah, I think so too.
Sometimes I'm the only one there in the whole big ass mansion bed and breakfast place. No one else is there. So they probably know me around there. I'm the only brown guy walking around too. So
yeah, that's true as well.
Well, yeah, we got 1.0 coming up. Yeah, thanks again to the community for helping us get there. Still a lot of work to do. So we're not there yet, but we are making a lot of progress. There's a migration guide. I guess, Ward, would you recommend, people migrate now? Should they wait? How should they go about migrating if they want to try it? What's the next step?
I would try today. We have code mods as well. So basically you run a command. It's in the migration guide too, and it tries to convert all the like small things already. So like get agent is now list agent. It would do those things for you. I would just try it on a new branch. Normally, I think it would just go smoothly. You might have to change like 1 or 2 things.
So here's if you're looking for the migration guide, if you go to the docs, go to guides and migrations, find V1. This has everything we need, right?
Can you go to the on the left stable to 1.x? I think that's one. It's actually better.
No. Beta.
Don't we have it?
There
we go. Yeah,
this is the actual one.
So go to the beta on the left. The beta is the 1.0, and go to the migrations, and you can see all the different.
We should probably put like a message on the other migration guide. They should go to this one.
Yeah, it should link. That's a good.
Yeah.
There we go. We have a good action item from this call.
Yeah, we have code mods because everything is very like syntactically changing. And then we also have an MCP tool that Daniel and Leonard jammed on. So you can just have the MCP doc server just do the migration for you. Your mileage may vary on that, let's be honest, but it'll definitely work though.
Yeah, and I think if you're on latest alpha or like latest 0.x already, I don't think it's a big leap. Like the stream generate, they're more or less the same. So I would try it. Like if it doesn't work, just go on with your live and stay on 0.x until
we'll figure it out.
But if you are getting very specific issues, please let us know. If you do have an issue, we do want to hear about it. We want to make sure the upgrade path is as good as it can be. And if you do see any bugs, we like to sand out rough edges. So if you find the rough edges, please tell us.
Yep. And I think a new beta goes out today, or we're trying to get it out today at least.
Yeah, it is freaking pesky test failing I gotta fix. But yeah, other than that, we'll ship a 1.x today and then 0.x tomorrow.
Yep.
Dude, it's such a pain shipping 0.x, dude. Let's be honest, dude. We have to backport. And we've broken stuff too. So when we backport, sometimes the syntax is changed to the old one. So you have to like kind of actually think about stuff. Man, for all you 0.x users, the things we do for you I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think last week I spent almost a day, I think, on backporting all the failed ones because we have
That's my day tomorrow. I essentially have to backport all day because there's like we ship so many PRs, I can't even keep up.
we have a bot that tries to backport it automatically, but it always fails because it's so diverged already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, we are we need to get to 1.0 and then hopefully that becomes a little less common.
yeah, and then
Eric,
we'll keep 0.x alive for a couple of months or maybe longer for some security updates, but we're probably not gonna do much backporting then.
Yeah, so it'll be, if you want the new features, you'll have to upgrade, but security will, of course, remain important. So Eric says, are we hosting or sponsoring any upcoming events in the Bay Area? I actually don't know. We probably are, but I don't know what they are. I don't know what the next one on the calendar is. So
we sponsor a lot, but I don't know if we're going to be the host.
Yeah, I don't think we're hosting any, but we will probably have some. You will probably find books that are, probably find some of these laying around at these events.
But if you live in SF and you ever want to like hang out, hit us up. That worked last time when we said that. Remember that? We still haven't got a beer with that person though. But
yeah, we need to. Yeah, I'll be in SF in a couple weeks too. So
is the book in the local library as well?
It should be.
You mean this book?
Yeah, we should figure out how to get into the local library. Donate it to the local library. That would be really funny. Ryan Carson's here, says what's up. Daniel just reiterated there's a migration tool on the MCP doc server. Ryan said upgraded to 1.0. Well, AMP code did. Cool. So must have went relatively well. Conebrink said migration to 1.x went pretty smoothly, but the main branch is still in 0.x. Sebastian says on 0.x still, but spins up v1. Yeah. So seems like going relatively smooth for people, which is good. Well, Ward, thanks for coming on the show. You're the founding farmer of Mastra.
Gonna change my Slack title.
Yeah, dude, that's your title now.
You probably should. Yeah, it's went from Bundle Ruski to founding farmer. I think that's better. Has a better ring to it.
Given the circumstances, you need a new nickname. So
yeah. All right. Well, yeah, appreciate you coming on. Of course, we'll have you back, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
See you, dude.
All right. If you just are tuning in, this is AI Agents Hour. I'm Shane. I'm here with Abhi. We do this every Monday, but if you're watching this live, you will realize it's not Monday. So it's not every Monday, but it's usually on Monday. Today it's on Tuesday, usually right around noon Pacific. We go for as long as we need to go. And we bring on really cool guests. Like today we had Tony from Runloop. We just talked to the founding farmer of Mastra himself, Ward Peters, talking about V1 and the progress on that. And we also are going to bring on the next guest. But before we do, please leave us a review if you haven't already. It's the 50th episode. We're hoping to get 50 reviews. That's a tall goal. So we need each and every one of you. Please give us a review, like, subscribe on YouTube, all the things I'm supposed to say every time, and I always forget. But with that, let's bring on the next guest. Grayson, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
What up, dude?
I don't know how I'm going to follow Ward, but I will do my best.
Well, you had a sweet painting in the background. So
I do.
That is that's something. You have that going for you.
It's actually my mom's dining room. It feels like a study room and like a library or something, but it's a dining room. But it is a very cool painting.
Traveling for the holidays, I assume.
Yes. So I'll be eating Thanksgiving dinner here in like 48 hours.
All right. Well, I'm glad you could take away some of the family time, but spend it with us. Maybe for those that don't know, because I think this, you're relatively, maybe you peeked in on one episode before, but this is the first time you've been really on an episode.
I think I've jumped in the chat. Like I've watched y'all on YouTube before and jumped in the chat, but I think it's my first time on the stream.
Yeah, first time caller, they like to say, right? Yeah. Long time viewer, first time caller.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about Grayson.
Yeah. So, I'm finishing up maybe my first 5 weeks or so at Mastra, but I've known Shane and Abhi and Ward and a lot of these folks for a long time from back in our Gatsby days. Just before Mastra, I was working at a company called MFD. They did financing for manufacturing. It's kind of the simplest way to put it. So you want to make a product and you want to know how to make it for the least amount of money, most efficiently, and then maybe you need some capital to get that order placed with the factory. And we built some AI agents that helped facilitate that process. Here at Mastra, I'm just kind of putting on as many hats as I can to get started, but mainly helping with customer experience. So whether that's your day-to-day open source user up to our larger enterprise customers that have very specific needs for projects, and making sure that they're happy, and then also that we're bringing back good ideas, good patterns, bug fixes back into the framework so the Mastra gets better as well.
Cool. Yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on is because one of the things you mentioned when you came here is something that I've been hearing more and more, and it's that at MFD you had an agent that was in your Slack, and we one of the first things we did when we were playing around with building our own agent is Abhi built an agent called Dane who lived in our Slack, and I was at a couple different conferences, but I've seen this kind of emergent behavior where people follow, and different people from different walks of life building agents. They want to humanize agents, get them in their Slack, give them a name, give them even as much as a persona. People are giving personas to these agents, a backstory. The amount of time I talked to someone, they said they spent hours just writing their agent's backstory so it felt more human. And so there's this behavior. It must be something in psychology. I don't know how to explain it other than it pops up, and it's not because people are talking about it. I think it's just a natural thing that people want to do.
Yeah. I 100% agree. There's a whole technical side to this, but there's also a really huge philosophical side that I find super interesting anyways. But it's all right, if we give stuffed animals and Pokemon, these names and backstories, some of these Pokemon have tragic backstories, and you're it's not even a real thing, and we're doing the same thing with agents. Yeah, we're humanizing them. Now, I think that one big difference is developers and how we're thinking about agents. We tend to be this is this non-deterministic function that returns, the most probable result. Cool. I'm gonna hit this API, right? But if you go to Jim in accounting, hey Jim, to use this agent, you got to curl this endpoint and and then make sure you poll it, and that is not how we're going to grow this. So if you're a developer and you love this stuff, and and you can kind of, and you're looking like me, I'm looking 10, 20 years out. I'm this is the future. It won't be the future if we keep it in our own little developer bubble and just build coding agents and things that aren't accessible to the regular people inside of a business. And part of that is, exposing it just like you would expose a colleague. When you start on at a new job, you get an email address, you get a Slack account, you get all these things that makes you, reachable, makes you functional inside the company. So I think the same thing will be true with agents. I think you'll still have these kind of faceless, nameless agents, of course, that are doing agentic things. But as far as the entries and the gateway into the system, for most people, it will be some kind of human-esque character persona.
I think 11x named their agent, right? It was Alice.
Yep.
Alice and I don't know, Bob or something. Who knows? But
yeah, they had two different agents, and I think Alice was one of them.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, they talk about generational stuff with, we, elder millennial here, we hold a phone up like this, but my kids hold a phone up like this if they're kind of miming the symbol. But even other behaviors of voice. So I don't really like to dictate code. It just, I like to type, but I've met some younger folks that because they've had smartphones all the time that can dictate pretty well, like that's kind of their the first way they reach for that. Them and maybe some boomers do the dictation too. But like the same thing will be true of how they think about AI. So my kids are constantly yelling across the house, "Hey Alexa, hey Alexa." Like it's just part of. Now they know Alexa's not real, but like they argue with her and they talk to her like, I don't know what the parallel is for us that didn't have Alexas growing up, but there's something to that, and then I think we'll see it evolve even more with.
Yeah, I'm going to say this very quietly, so my Alexa does not hear me. But how is Alexa so bad when this age of LLMs, which are so much better? It's so terrible.
I got an invite to Alexa Plus, which is apparently I haven't signed on for it. It was one of those like free now, but it'll kick in and you have to pay for it later. But it's apparently driven by the more powerful models.
Good. I would pay.
It is pretty garbage.
Pay for it. I would absolutely pay for it because Alexa is so terribly bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had multiple occasions in the last, couple months where I ask it something simple, very simple things. I'm not asking it rocket science here, and it can't understand me. And then so I'll just pull open, ChatGPT in voice mode and ask it, and of course it gets it mostly right.
Yeah.
But it is it's kind of amazing that, and this maybe the rumors around OpenAI having a device and all this, like this device should exist, and it should be much better than the hockey puck Alexa that I have sitting in my kitchen.
Yeah, and it'll be a cool like open versus closed source thing too, because it wouldn't be that hard to hook up a microphone and a speaker to a Raspberry Pi that can do the voice dictation and then play it back.
Someone should build the hardware device, and it's open. You can deploy your own agent to it. Like that would be a really cool.
The device is Raspberry Pi, honestly.
Yeah.
I think I saw a company that's doing it, and then you can 3D print a cool case so it looks like a little character.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can deploy your own
this for experimentation purposes.
Yeah.
Like I was reading some of the specs. I don't know if you can really run. It depends on what you really want it to do, but maybe run a small model locally on it. Otherwise, you're going to have to just do network, calls. But you could even do a local one. If you wanted to keep it simple.
Yeah. We got a whole bunch of comments here. So Sebastian says, this is in reference to the reviews we were asking for earlier. Not familiar with the review game. Well, let me tell you, Sebastian, if you want to give us a review, please go to Spotify. Please go to Apple Podcasts. Even if that's not where you're listening right now, you can definitely give us a review. If you want to give us a 5-star, we do ask if you don't want to give us a 5-star, you can find something else to do. We're okay with that. But we appreciate every review. And Sebastian says, I can't wait to mention Hal in Slack to open the doors. And Hashim says, reading the reasoning an agent does makes it feel like a person. It gets confused about my code base just like I do. There you go.
Yeah, that's another interesting point of like how we're thinking about these agents as human. I know everybody wants ASI, right? Like we want this machine that's just never going to mess up. But again, to get a little philosophical, like can you make it greater than the sum of its parts? And the sum of its parts is us. And so like, as long as the source material is flawed, which is us, like, can we really expect it to ever be, failure proof, especially these days, like you should, the mental model we used was keep these at the like intellectual level of an intern, and the percentage of mistakes and the severity of mistakes that they make from there and the responsibilities that you give them, don't give them, maybe they can't run sudo in the shell, like don't let them do database stuff. Like, like that's what you would do for an intern, right? And if the intern screwed up, you would expect it. And so I think just setting the right expectations is important. And then I imagine that will get better and evolve, where we will be like, okay, we're bringing in a senior or something that is going to be running stuff, but we can't really expect them to be much different from us at this point.
Yeah. I did see Nick slip in here. Nick, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good to see. Got the brothers hanging out.
We're in Iron Manor right now.
Well, it is that time of year in the U.S. It's family time, so that's good to see you. Welcome.
Speaking of this ASI thing, or even any of this stuff, my dream has always been to have a house like. Have you guys seen the movie Smart House, the Disney Channel original movie from back
Old
in the day?
movie. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think
It's
it's
about-
you and about 50 others.
Dude, no, there's a bunch of people. If you grew up in the 90s, you watched it. It's this house that can make smoothies for you and clean, and it's like what the future could be. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every '90s movie had some kind of intro where the dad was some crazy inventor, and it was making everyone's breakfast with this Rube Goldberg machine, like Flubber, or like I think Honey, I Shrunk the Kids might have had that too. Like, and then I remember a 60 Minutes episode with Bill Gates a long time ago, like walking around his house, showing off some of the first smart home features, which would be like, a $9 light bulb now could do what was cutting edge back on, warranted being on the nightly news back then. But yeah, everybody wants to just be able to run that stuff.
Yeah, my version of that is when my daughter liked Mickey Mouse, Fun House or Clubhouse or whatever, and the house was kind of magical. So I guess there's different ways that has come up in culture.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that's the dream. How do we get a little more magic into our smart home? How do we make our smart home a little bit more smart?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that true?
I guess so.
LeVar Burton directed Smart House? I don't know.
You guys should watch Smart House, dude. It's really good.
That's Thanksgiving homework for everybody. I will not be watching Smart House, but some of you might. And congratulate and let us know. Grayson, did you been working on something? Did you want to show a demo?
I can show a little demo.
We can keep it quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually kind of work on this over the next couple of days, and then Alex Booker and I are going to be doing a workshop next week. Building this from scratch.
Workshop.
It's kind of bits and pieces.
Thursday, I think.
Yeah, that'll be my first workshop. So I'll it's kind of bits and pieces. So I'll share. You know what? I might have to.
I'll share a link. So I'm going to share a link to. We don't have the link to the workshop yet. It's going to be announced soon. It's going to be next Thursday. If you go to our Luma calendar, luma.com/Mastra, I believe, I'll find that. You can subscribe if you want to hear about our events. We have many more coming up and more that will be announced soon. So
I've got to restart to get the security permission. So if you want to take 30 seconds to talk about something else, I'll be right back. Share my screen.
I am good at filling time.
Cool.
So for those of you, there's a link if you want to see what events are coming up. Abhi, you have an event scheduled, I see. Is that real?
This week?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm doing Agent Network workshop.
On Thanksgiving?
Yeah, dude. Hustle don't sleep, yo.
Dude, that is... All right, dude. I respect. Absolute respect. So for those of you, if you're, here's the situation. You've had enough food, or you're about to have you're about to have food with the family. You know it's going to be a long day, but maybe you want to learn a little bit about Agent Networks first. That's where the workshop comes in on Thanksgiving. So join Abhi and Alex. And if you're not in the US, you're not celebrating on Thursday, so it's just a normal day. Come hang out. All right, Grayson, you're back.
All right. Okay, so I'll preface this with the fact we're going to do a workshop on this, showing how you could build a Slack integration with Mastra, but also as of last week we opened up a beta for people to volunteer to try this one-click solution in cloud. So everything that I show you could do yourself and manage that yourself. Or if you're using Mastra Cloud, like now you'll be able to click with one button and add your agent to your Slack workspace, which is pretty cool. So let me share.
And I'll share that form out for anyone after you see it. If you're like, yeah, I'd love to try this out. We would love your feedback.
Cool. So can y'all see the Slack Mastra demo here?
I do.
Okay, so this is just kind of like a little toy UI I built. I'll show you what it looks like in Mastra Cloud as well. I've already installed one of these agents, and there's a lot of like hand wavy magic stuff going on to like simulate a real database and do those types of things. But actually, let me see if I can share my whole window. I think it's only showing.
Yeah, we just see the Mastra app.
Let me try this again. There we go. Cool. All right. Inception. We're good. So I just made 3 little like text agents, right? One of them just reverses what you said, one puts in all caps, and one converts it to numbers. So I made a little dummy Slack workspace here, Mastronauts, and then I've got this code. It's a Next.js front end that gives me this little UI so I can track. This is just so I could see whether or not the agents were installed. And then this is the Slack API, like apps dashboard where I can double check that things are installed, but just kind of to show you all the moving pieces. So where to start? I like, the thing I like most about this is when I was doing more of the React development is kind of the framework wars, like lots of different patterns and ways of thinking about things. And I was always really attracted to the remix pattern where it was, in React, like, oh, it's just JavaScript. And it felt like as thin of a layer as possible of abstractions to let you like just write code and like we'll augment it just enough to be awesome. And that's what I feel like Mastra did here, right? Like there's no real magic going on. Now we're going to give you some magic in Mastra Cloud to make it easier for you, but you can do all this and it just feels really natural. The main pieces are the agents themselves, which you just write like your regular Mastra agents. And then I have to run an ngrok here to be able to have a callback from Slack. So there's going to be like an auth portion where you have to give permissions to allow Slack to install this app in your workspace. And then there's going to be an aspect for listening to events, right? So there's like a webhook listener, here. Right. So here's all of our auth stuff in the workshop. We'll get into this and build it from scratch. But for here, I'll just give you the highlights. So let's just walk through it and see what it looks like. Again, this is not the UI you'll get in Mastra Cloud, but actually, let me go and show you what it looks like. It'll look like this. Nice and simple. Connect to Slack, and you get the OAuth flow, and then your agent gets added to Slack, and you can manage it from here. So in this case, I've already added the reverse agent. So if I go in here and I say, what's up, Shane and Abhi and Nick, I think I'll even see, I should see all the traces in here. Yeah, there it was. Right. So it actually hits our Mastra instance that's running because it gets routed through the ngrok. It's going to log out. We're checking what type of event it is. And we have some, just kind of like some housekeeping stuff we want to do. If, for example, in Slack, when you tag someone, it looks like you're tagging their name, but you're not. In the code, it's their user ID. And we don't want to include that in the message. So we're doing some stuff like that. And then we're also making some choices here. So in this case, we're choosing to respond in a thread, reply in a thread. So if I come here, if you notice, it's replied here in a thread versus directly back into the message. So we're probably going to open up some more config to let you choose some of these things, because essentially we're going to have this code running in Mastra Cloud, so we can give you a UI and say, always respond in thread or only respond in thread in channels, things like that. Also, this is just a little person icon. We probably want to give some kind of logo so that people can more readily tell who they're talking to when they glance at a channel. All kinds of things. Maybe say you have a longer response. So some of these agents that we built, one example was a sourcing agent. So again, say you want to manufacture something, and say it's sunglasses. So you want to manufacture sunglasses, and you give the agent some restrictions. Say it can't be made in China. I want it to be made in India or Vietnam, and they have to have a shipping cost under this, or a minimum order quantity of 10,000 units, or whatever criteria you want to give it. And the agent would then go do some agentic web searches. It would kind of iterate, and it would spit out this list of suppliers. So before, that was somebody's full day. It would take them 2 hours or so to polish up a list, maybe more, of suppliers. But the agent could do it in a couple of minutes, and it would respond in the Slack thread. And to kind of like expound on this analogy, it would also put it in a Google Doc, because the business ran in Google Docs. Slack was great for communication, but things had to live in Google Docs. So it would give you the link to the Google Doc in a Slack message, just like the sourcing specialist would have done. But as far as configuration, that agent was kind of like a hit it and forget it. When you respond back, like maybe you don't want it to keep talking. Maybe you're now talking to another person, and sometimes they get annoying, and the agent keeps kind of interjecting, and you're like, I'm not talking to anymore. Like a human would get that. The agent, we might have to configure some things like that. But also say that process takes 5 minutes. I believe, I know I've done this before. I got to look at how we could do it with cloud, but you could give some UI indicators of what your agent is doing before it writes a Slack message. So again, I can't remember the APIs off the top of my head, but it would be kind of like a spinner and say, hey, I'm searching for suppliers, parsing suppliers, sorting the list. And then you would get the response in case it's some kind of long running workflow or task that needs to be, you'd like some kind of visual indicator of where it is. So let's go through what the auth flow looks like, so that if any of y'all try this in cloud, you'll know what to expect. So I've also got an all caps agent. I'm going to choose install. And so the first thing that you'll see is this Mastra app. So essentially we have a parent app that installs the app dynamically for you. So we're going to allow the Mastra app to install our agents for us. So you'll see a two-part login here. So I'm going to allow that. And now it says, can we add the caps agent specifically to your workflow? So we're going to allow that. And it's cool because this pulls directly from your Mastra agent's name, description, etc. So if I go, let's see, it should have two of them connected now. Yep, our caps agent is there. And now our caps agent shows up in Slack. What's up, stream? So it's been added. And if I go into my apps here in Slack and click on caps agent, is that the right one? Oh, I know where to pull it up, what I'm trying to show you. All right, so if I go to caps agent and go to about, right? This is from my Mastra code. If I go to my caps agent and code, there's my instructions, and it gets added here. So when we make this, the Slack apps are built off of manifest, and so when we create the Slack app, we're making that manifest dynamically from the code that we have in Mastra. And again, we can open that up. Maybe you want to have a dev thing, you want to rename it, or you want to do what you want to override, whatever. But we give some pretty good defaults out of the box.
Yeah, dude, this is cool.
So cool, dude.
And then there we go. So I'll pause here. I think everyone gets the gist probably. And
people are already asking about Telegram. I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta calm down.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think
or worse, Microsoft Teams.
We actually have a ticket for Teams, so that's on my list. I want to get this workshop polished up a little more, and then dig into Teams.
But hey, if you're listening to this and you're using Teams and you're like, oh, this won't work for my org because we use Teams, come talk to us. We want to make it work for you, so we want to figure that out. But this is a little bit of a choose your own adventure because
it's just JavaScript, right? Like now and Abhi, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm using an Next.js like API route here, but I think, say your Mastra server is completely separate from your front end or whatever. You don't have a front end. I don't know. Was this where a register API route would be useful? Yeah. So
you can add custom routes to the Mastra server.
Yeah. So like, that's so sick. Like Mastra made this really, it didn't get in the way at all. It was just like, okay, you need OAuth routes, you need callback route, you need the webhook.
And this is where, if you're listening and you're like, I would love this, well, you choose your own adventure. You can come to the workshop next week, go to the Luma calendar, showing here. You have to subscribe to the calendar. The event's going to be announced here in the next few days. You can sign up, you can register. Grayson will show you how to build this yourself, just on top of Mastra, how to write the code, how to connect it with your Slack, customize it to do whatever you want it to do. If you don't want to write a bunch of code and you want to one click and just turn your Mastra agent into a Slack agent, well, just deploy to Mastra Cloud and fill out this form here, which it's on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, you'll be able to click this. Otherwise, just like DM me on X if you're on X, or if you're, wherever you can find us, or go on Discord. We'll post this in Discord too. I don't know, Abhi, if you have the link or whatever, or I'll jump into Discord here and post it. So if you do want to just try out early access to our Slack feature that Grayson's kind of demonstrating, you don't want to write the code yourself, that's an option too. Whole bunch of options for you.
Yeah. And so really, any integration you can think about, and go back to the smart home stuff, Abhi, like that's what would do it, right? Is just expose different endpoints when you want to hit it and tell the agent to do something. It's a super cool pattern.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah. And Amjad says hello a while back. Welcome to the live stream. And Grayson, we need to wrap up because we're going long already and we have way more to cover. But we do appreciate you coming on, chatting about, a little bit on the future of what we think interacting with agents is going to look like, but also the demo was sick too.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Thanks, chat. See ya.
See ya. All right, dude. This is going to be a long show.
It is. We got to do the news.
So got to get to the news, and we have special guests for that. Again, one more update for anyone that's joined. This is AI Agents Hour. We do this every Monday or sometimes on Tuesday. And we talked to Tony from Runloop. We talked to Ward, our founding farmer at Mastra. We talked to Grayson, talking about how we think there's going to be agents in every Slack. Should be plural, agents in every Slack. There'll be multiple, I think. And now we're going to go on to my favorite part sometimes is just, talking about what's going on. And we had some big news. But before we talk about the news, let's bring on some other Mastras.
Yo.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Hello.
We got Daniel here. We got you, John. We got Nick there with Abhi as well. So we have a panel, so to speak, to talk about the news today.
Oh yeah, I just want to say before we begin, for Grayson, if we can have a WhatsApp integration, that would be great. I'm in this group chat with my family, and I just want to do something like at Grok or at you, John. Is this true? What my dad said, something like this. That would be great, especially for Thanksgiving.
It's in the family fact checker agent. That's a good use case.
Yeah, I do that.
Dude, that will start some drama that we definitely need to do.
Yeah, what could go wrong there? Yeah. All right. Well, we got a big list of news items. I think we can maybe start with some of the big stuff first. And I don't know how we're going to do this because there's going to be a lot of people that can talk. So if you have an opinion, speak up. Hopefully we won't talk over each other too much. But the first thing, maybe I'll pull it up. Everyone's probably seen it by now. It's kind of feels like old news, to be honest, but it's not. It's only a few days old. And that is Gemini 3. Came out November 18th. It's the most intelligent model, helps you learn, build, and plan anything. The first release was Gemini 3 Pro. So here's the benchmarks.
I feel like we're getting desensitized to all these these model releases. That's why like the cycle's so quick now. So it feels like it was ages ago when it was a few days ago because we already got a new Claude model too.
Yeah, time distortion. I think it's just AI time is faster. It feels, but you can see the benchmarks are good, right? It is higher than pretty much everything compared to Gemini 2.5 Pro, which people really liked. So you have you definitely have an increase in a lot of the benchmarks that seem to matter. All right, so we know it. We talked about it. Gemini 3 is here. We have there's some state-of-the-art reasoning, understands and answers prompts with more depth and nuance, multimodal understanding, and it says it's the best model for vibe and agentic coding, so it can build dynamic apps from a single prompt, and it's available in Gemini app, Google AI Studio, and it's in AI mode in Google Search. So there we go. That's the big announcement. That was the big thing last week. Has anyone tried it yet? And Ward, welcome back.
I tried it because I heard last time or 2 times ago it's the best one if you look at emotional damage. So I only use the best.
That is true. As far as personality disorders, Gemini has potentially the worst or the best, depending on how you look at it. Has anyone else tried it? So I just played around with it a little bit. I haven't played around with it enough to go in depth to say if it's significantly better. I haven't really put it through its paces, but from what I've seen, it certainly seems like there was a lot of excitement and a lot of people saying that this is the best one yet.
I use it for free on Open Code. They were giving it away for the weekend or like last week. And I don't know. I don't think it's that great compared to Claude. But then in general, it's really good.
Yeah, I tried out their IDE. I downloaded it, and then their sign up was broken for a long time. So I had to keep on trying.
Talk about burying the lead, Daniel. Well,
oh, were you going to announce that next?
Go ahead and announce it. What are we talking about here?
Google released like another VS Code fork, anti-gravity. So competitor to cursor and all that.
This is the launch video. So there it is.
Yeah, the launch wasn't that good. I tried it I tried the new model on it, and I think after like 10 seconds I hit limits. I asked it to do one task and then it just stopped.
The other thing that was funny that I saw, which I don't know if it was actually true, but this was so for backstory, Varun, who I believe is the person from the tweet, he was originally from Windsurf. He was basically bought by Google. Google couldn't buy the company. They were worried about antitrust issues, so they just bought the founder and some of the IP somehow. And they basically just relaunched it as, and I'm sure they probably improved it. They made changes, but they basically left Windsurf out to dry. So it seems from the outside looking in, and they basically relaunched it. And I saw a screenshot that said there's still places that referred to the agent as Cascade, which means they didn't even do a find and replace, if true.
Yeah, so, certain Windsurf logs are left in there and stuff.
Yeah, so it's like you just took Windsurf, you put a Google brand on it, you brought the founder of Windsurf, you left the whole team behind, and yeah, not kind of sketchy situation in my opinion. I feel bad for the team that was left behind, but they ended up in a good place, so all maybe as well. But yeah, haven't tried it. Not really looking for a new IDE, but curious if any, sounds like Daniel, you didn't have the best onboarding experience.
Yeah, I tried it too, and it was the same. Like I could sign up, but then when I was using it, it was keep failing, like rate limit, or I don't know what the exact error was, but it couldn't.
Yeah, there was like
just overloaded or something.
There was a follow-up tweet like later that day that they just had so much demand or something that there was just a lot of like
Which
hiccups.
I can understand. I think many people, like even non-technical people, tried it because their launch video and how they launched it was pretty good, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's
I
a good way
actually
to get
really,
people to think that your product is really popular. Just say that it was too much demand. That's why it failed.
I actually really liked Windsurf at one point in time. There was a time where I do believe that Windsurf was better than Cursor for a moment in time, and I think that that time was fleeting. It was like felt like 3 weeks. This was their window where Windsurf actually was better than Cursor, and I was trying them both actively. And maybe it was just for me, but I think they're Abhi, I think you were the same way. Like we were windsurfers for a bit, so I do think that there's Cursor's proven there's a market here. I think there's obviously a lot of people trying to do it. There's a lot of good options out there. I don't
and
know
then
if
the founder surfed away.
yeah I don't know if this will end up being I suppose it depends on how much Google keeps committing to it and putting resources behind it. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll become more competitive with Cursor. I guess time will tell.
But assume if they put like the IDE in the browser, that would be huge, right? Because then like everyone can use it. Like it's basically what GitHub has. What it's called? Like they have the dev experience in the cloud too. So
Yeah.
Google probably wants something similar because they want to do the whole background agents like GitHub and everyone is doing too. So it's a good play.
Yeah. As another related launch, Sebastian mentions, I think is it called Gemini 3 Pro Image or something? I think is like, it's basically nano banana, and that's I mean, I was excited to see that as well because the original was awesome. So if you can make that even better,
Dude, there's just so many pictures came out after that of like people with Sam Altman, like in all different places, like the Golden Gate Bridge, or
Yeah.
and then also like the legion of Elon and all the big AI guys like dancing, or it was great. Let me see if I can find that picture.
Yeah, you should do that. All right, we're going to continue on to the next big news item because, there wasn't just one big launch in the last 7 days. There was another model, and I'm sure many of you all have seen this, but Claude Opus 4.5, which I was especially excited about because I loved the previous Opus, and I, basically let Claude code cook with Opus many, many times. So it's, again, shows the benchmarks, which I thought it was really cool that, or maybe planned that Opus just waited until Gemini 3 Pro came out because they put, Gemini 3 in the benchmark. So if you were excited about Gemini 3 and then Opus came out, you kind of look and you're like, oh, well, I guess Opus is just better.
Yeah, they were sitting on this.
Yeah, I feel like they were. And obviously it's more towards coding tasks, right? Technical coding tasks is where Opus and Claude in general seems to really shine. But
is that the loop? Like OpenAI comes first, then Gemini, then Claude, and then the Chinese models?
Yeah, there's
how it is.
The Chinese models are going to be right behind, I'm sure, and they're going to say like, "Oh, look, we're only 1% behind, or we're very close."
I think Opus pricing is cheaper too, like per 5 million tokens. So it's like they're trying to get the economies of scale, and the price goes down.
Yeah, they made before Opus used to run out like on your limits really quickly on the Claude code plans, and now I think they made it so that it's the same limits as Sonnet. So hopefully we'll be able to use it without having to like switch off after a day or two.
I think they make it the default model too.
Yeah.
Go check.
In Claude Code?
Yeah, in Claude Code.
Yeah, it's a default now. It's pretty good. Like, seems to work quite a lot better, and it seems to do better at long tasks now, whereas before it would pause a lot and like ask for clarification or just think that it was done the task before it was done.
But if they make it a default, that means that or they just want more usage, or it's cheaper for them to run as well.
Maybe they want us to spend money.
True.
No one changes defaults, right? Most people won't.
Yeah.
So
I was really
Okay.
excited to see this though, Claude Code available in the desktop app, just because I think, as cool as it is to just use the CLI, I'm comfortable with using the CLI. I can use Git work trees when needed. I do think that, and maybe this, there's a whole bunch of like UI, Claude Code layers on top of UI that probably don't want to see this, but just having it in the desktop app makes a lot of sense. People already can run it locally. If I can send off, and I haven't tested it, if I can send off a bunch of different tasks across different repos and check in on it and jump in if needed, there's really no reason it has to be in the CLI, right? So I will likely try this and just report back, because I just think it's a cool interface for having it write code for me.
So Opus is $5 per million input tokens, 25 per million output tokens, and then 4.5 Sonnet, $3 per input, $15 per output. So yeah, but I don't know what the previous Opus price was. But yeah, for $2 more, you get more shit.
I think it was it's a third of the price. I think it was like 15 per million, and now it's 5 per million.
Dude, that's pretty cheap compared.
All right, there were some other things that I'll just rapid fire talk about from Anthropic. So they launched some API features, tool search tool, programmatic tool calling, and tool use examples. I guess let me just share my screen and show that as well. So they have a tool search tool. So instead of loading all tool definitions up front, you can have it discover tools on demand. So it can defer tool loading. Programmatic tool calling. So you can orchestrate tools through code instead of individual round trips. So it's kind of like, I guess, code mode in a way, right?
Yeah.
Tool use examples. And they're all now available in beta. So some additional things for developers using the APIs.
Yeah, that tool search thing is cool. And I think it already exists kind of in the MCP world for like Smithery, etc. If we can search tools from the toolbox. I wonder where is it like just? I wonder the tool search is just for Anthropic tools, the built-ins.
Yes, but this is maybe a good segue, because again, we did we got to keep the ball moving here. We got more news. MCP. So this is from the Model Context Protocol blog, but it says MCP apps extending servers with interactive user interfaces. So today we're introducing the proposal for the MCP apps extension. And this is kind of a collaboration between, it seems, Anthropic and OpenAI and maybe some others as well. But what's everyone's thought on this? I haven't read too much into it yet, so I'm hoping someone else has.
It's going to be so much more MCP drama now. They're just doing too much.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way too. Like the majority of the spec isn't being used yet, and they just keep on releasing more and more things. Like they're just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, hoping that different features will stick. But this kind of just seems like if it does take off, it's just going to be shopping and ads.
Yeah.
But didn't Tyler shared another protocol? Forgot what it was. Something that too, like with UI, because I think this might make sense.
So this is built off of that. This was
okay.
like it took that for inspiration, and then they made it like an actual protocol, or an actual like feature in the MCP spec.
Because I think this, I haven't read it, so I don't know how good or bad it is. But having like some UI protocol does make sense if you want to share some stuff in VS Code or in Cursor. Now you have to build for that editor if they even allow it. And if you have like a spec, then maybe you could just build the UI primitives and then the editor can do whatever it wants.
So Sebastian asks, isn't this completely redundant to elicitation? I thought that was meant for building UI.
I thought that was for state or something.
Yeah, elicitation's like human in the loop for tools, essentially.
It's almost like filling out I always thought it was like more for like a form. Like you basically like getting a schema back, right? You're like eliciting
Yeah,
human
it could be
feedback
for
through
like
a
pretty much
schema.
anything. Yeah.
This reminds me of like Netlify SDK. Remember we had to build that shit, and like it had like a UI component that you could add different UIs into.
Oh, like
the
their
integration.
extensions. Yeah.
The extensions, yeah. So kind of similar, I guess. Makes sense. Maybe it's just for configuration and stuff like that. Who knows?
And Daniel, funny enough, you said this thing's just going to be used for shopping because there's another announcement from OpenAI introducing shopping research in ChatGPT, a new shopping experience that helps you find the right products for you. So essentially, it's built in a personal shopper into ChatGPT, which this might make them more money than maybe anything else. Can you imagine? I imagine they're getting some kind of, if they want to have people advertise or like place products higher, I imagine that you can kind of pay for placement at some point. If not yet, then why not someday? And they're going to make a lot of money either referring products out or through like paid placements. And I think this is going to be, a lot. It's going to generate a lot of money for them, I imagine.
Just put affiliate links, everything, so they all go to the CEO's Amazon's referral link, and then he makes all the money.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be hell when they start putting in like ads and stuff and like paid placements for people without mentioning that it's a paid placement.
Yeah, I
Because
gotta
probably nothing's
imagine they're
like
going to
regulated right now.
Yeah, I gotta imagine they'll disclose it though. You would certainly hope so.
In EU, they can't do it. Like they have to say it's an advertisement.
Dude, if I could OAuth with Amazon, I would use ChatGPT to buy stuff. Why not?
Yeah, I do it now with Comet or basically with Perplexity. I don't buy directly, but I just ask it like, find me the cheapest place where I can buy this item, and then I just buy it.
I mean, it
I
does
use it
make
for services a lot.
it does make sense though, right? If I can tell it like my preferences, I don't want to do the research around like which headphones do I need. I just want someone to tell me these are the best headphones for me. That's it. That's really like, maybe I care what it looks like. Show me some pictures, but probably not. I probably just want, here's my preferences. Find me the headphones, buy me the headphones, get them at my door, ideally in an hour, but in a couple days is fine too. I mean, that's the future we're going to be living in. Is
so American in an hour.
It would be sweet if you can give your like preferences, like, hey, I trust like Reddit and Wirecutter for like their reviews. I don't trust any of that other garbage. Like, find me something from those sources that like recommend this. Like that, I would be bought in.
Exactly, but that's going to happen, right? That's probably already. You probably can use it. I'm sure you can give it some preferences if it's saying receiving a personalized buyer's guide, and then it just one click buy ships it right to your doorstep.
Yeah, and then once you add in like services, like find me like a plumber or something like that, like
Yelp will be dead.
Yeah,
Dude, Yelp.
Yep, Yelp, Thumbtack,
dead.
Angie's, like all those different, and in that, Daniel, that's an amazing idea because, as let's just imagine as a homeowner, like you can decide, like, are you going to fix it yourself? Okay, well you can YouTube it or ask ChatGPT to help you fix it, whatever. And it works. You can get by through most things. Some things are going to be outside your skill range, or you just don't have the time or whatever. And if it can just recommend it for you, you can do the booking through it. It can basically be your assistant that helps you with that process, because that is a terrible experience.
Yeah, all the communication.
It's terrible to find to phone call someone to come fix my electrical and have to leave 7 different messages. Most of them will never call you back. And so if you could have something that would handle that pain for you, people would pay for that.
I've been waiting for a plumber to call me for like 7 days now.
Exactly. That is my point.
I gotta give you money, bro. Like
they just have so much of it, They have so much of it. They don't want any more. No, oftentimes, like, it's small businesses. They're busy. They're not the best, most well managed, well run. So I think tools like this could help.
I hope they are like the the credit cards or something are attached to an API key, so then we can build an MCP that just steals people's money.
I know where your head's
You got to
at.
pay for
Shai
the farm
Hulud.
somehow.
Yeah. I got
Dude,
built-
Ward, you are Shai Hulud, right? You're just telling people. You're the guy behind all.
Yeah. All
just,
right.
Just watch out for those people who want to steal your money through MCP. If you ever see Ward's MCP, don't install it.
All right, so we have some more. We'll try to rapid fire through some of these other ones. So, I think this was just interesting. You know, our friends over at Vercel released AI SDK released a tool registry, so a collection of ready-to-use tools that add functionality to your agents with minimal setup. That's cool. More tools for your agents. More tools for you to use in Mastra. I don't think there's really that many yet in the tool registry, but I imagine the goal is for them to have more. So I think, I thought it was kind of surprising they released it with only 2 tools, but maybe they're trying to build the marketplace of tools. I guess that was less clear, but it is cool to see. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's good that if there's a language specific tool registry as opposed from MCP, I just don't know how you're going to get like a bunch of good quality tools. And then isn't it the same problem as like anything where you have to like now assess the quality of each tool that comes into the registry? Classic plugin problem.
Yeah, that is a tough, that's a challenge because you're going to end up with, 10% or 5% that are good and then 95% that are really bad quality if depending on how they open it, or you end up with like the App Store and you have this now burden of reviewing and approving, and you have an entire
it's
team.
more of a app store type of model where you submit to the repo or whatever.
Got to make sure that Ward doesn't see our credit cards also.
Yeah, don't use any Ward's tools from the registry.
Yeah, if you see a Ward Peters tool, be cautious.
Maybe it's like just an enterprise play. If you have like private MCPs, maybe they just want to put it all in one bill. Because now you use like another registry, but then you have 2 bills. Maybe they just want to have one.
Yeah, I guess that comes to the MCP topic, which will then, it's just like if you're not doing multi-language things, wouldn't it be better just to have all your tools local in JavaScript or whatever language, if it works that way?
Yeah, but if you then use Cloud Code or something, you kind of have to use MCP now. Like any...
You can add tools to Cloud Code SDK now, but then like, it's still the same problem if you're a big company and your tools are being written in Python and you're in the JavaScript side and all that type of stuff.
So Quen announced that they have 10 million users on Quen Chat.
Wow.
So if you're a fan of the, Quen and some of the other Chinese model companies, that's pretty amazing growth. On top of that, in related but not exactly the same news, this Lingguan vibe coding app hits 1 million downloads in 4 days. So
this is real?
Yeah, apparently so.
Dude, we thought it was a scam in GitHub, remember? They told us that they'd give away 1 billion tokens for the Ant group. Did you see that?
Oh,
is
like
that
2
what that
days ago?
was?
That's what this was.
Well, there you go. So it's just talking. So essentially looks like it's a Chinese Replit type product, and it got from 0 to 1 million. It says 1 million downloads, so I don't know if that's like 1 million unique users. Is it an actual app you download on like a desktop? That's not clear from this. So
They have an app and they have a agent SDK as well.
These ads, and by the way, like the Red Bull ad is speaking to me as I have a Red Bull right here. But okay, good job, Google Ads.
Yeah, this Ant group thing has there's product, an agent SDK, which gives you an OpenAI compatible URL to use. So you can integrate with it and get your 1 billion tokens if you want and use it. Might as well.
Yeah, so there you go.
They're a Chinese company, by the way, so beware.
Yeah, you don't know where your data is going, but probably a powerful tool.
Vibe coding for my MCP.
So we talked a lot about how we think that 2026 might be the year of small models. So this is interesting if you do believe that, because this is pretty crazy what a 1.5 billion parameter model can do these days. So it's called Vibe Thinker 1.5B. It's a 1.5 billion parameter language model. Total training cost of just about a little less than $8,000. And it can achieve reasoning performance comparable to larger language models like GPT OSS, which again, GPT OSS, not really the best model to compare to, but for such a small model, it's crazy impressive. And so it has, some pretty favorable benchmarks that you can see, as you look down here. It's not quite the same, going to be hitting all of the larger models, although some of these are it compares pretty favorably. So it's
And it's
interesting.
all on device.
Yeah, you can run it on a very small device. So it's just available on Hugging Face if you want to grab it and try it out. What are your thoughts on small models, everybody? Do you think we're going to see more small models be used, or you think the big models are where everyone's going to be using all their tokens?
I think eventually they will run on devices like on the phone or like a fridge, those kind of things. Eventually.
It feels like this is like we're in the data center era of the early internet. It's like everything was big data centers, right? Or the early computing, maybe before pre-internet, early computing, huge data centers just to run basic things. And then maybe eventually you don't need, your computer just has enough power and the form factor shrinks. So it would be really cool if that is the case, and maybe it will be. Maybe.
Yeah, things are being multi-model too.
Yeah.
Want to be able to talk to my fridge, tell it to order some food off of DoorDash, hit the DoorDash MCP server, and have it delivered.
Dude, that's the world I want to live in.
That's what I want my Alexa to do. But continuing on. So this one, we got two more things, and then we'll probably just have a few minutes to chat. But we are coming up on the end of it. If you are listening, leave us a chat. You can. This is a live show. Leave us a chat in the comments, whether you're watching us on YouTube, X, wherever. This was a research paper, and for those of you that had a chance to read it, it's called "Solving a Million-Step LLM Task with Zero Errors." So it's essentially research on how LLMs could do way more complex tasks without any kind of error, or at least lowering the errors. And so this kind of talks through the paper. It's linked down below. You can find it, but we'll just go through the highlights. It says, using AI models can be flaky and make mistakes. So sometimes imagine you need 1,000 correct steps in a row with a 99.9% success rate. But 1 million steps, it's statistically impossible. But this paper does, shows how you can potentially do it using a completely different approach. So they basically break the problem in the tiniest possible pieces. They're calling it in the paper maximal agentic decomposition. And then a team of really small, simple, cheap AI LLMs vote on the answer for each tiny piece of the task. So they're basically doing like a voting process, and based on how the votes shake out, that's how they complete the task. So they tested on the Towers of Hanoi puzzle, a classic benchmark where AIs often fail spectacularly. So the plot twist was the most expensive state-of-the-art models weren't even the best for the job. Cheaper models were more cost-effective because the tasks were so simple. So again, very interesting idea of like, okay, well, you take this complex task, break it down. That makes sense. But the whole voting idea of having a bunch of LLMs vote on the course of action before just allowing one LLM to decide and make a decision, that's kind of a cool, novel approach.
Yeah, like you have consensus in the network or something. That's pretty cool. I like that.
I mean, almost like a blockchain consensus in a way, right? It's a little bit different.
Yeah, like as opposed to a routing agent, it's like you actually have a true swarm or whatever. What is that called? You know, like a hive mind. Yeah, hive mind. Maybe we should have a new API called Hive.
Yeah, well, let's start with a template.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking about my my fridge, my stove, my air fryer, and my microwave coming to a consensus about what I'm going to eat tonight.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this from anybody?
It's kind of interesting, but I don't know how it will actually play and how practical it would be. The puzzle sounded cool. I looked at how the puzzle's done, and I have my son who he's one, and he has that toy where you put the rings on the other like sticks, and yeah, I mean, it just seems like a leak code problem in my opinion. Like if you're a software engineer, you study these leak code problems, and then you get to the job, and then like, can you do the job, or can you just do the leak code problem sort of thing? So I'm kind of interested in hearing how other people are going to use this framework, you could say.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be helpful for like medicine and like the health field. Like I feel like I saw something like a while back about how like they were using models to come to like a consensus on like a diagnosis for people, and having like a bunch of different models and also like real physicians. And so this kind of seems like a good paradigm for something like that you want like a lot more consensus with.
Yeah. It's like a diagnosis rather than just sending it to one model. It's sending it to 300 different models or whatever, or 20 different models on all these different pieces, and they come together or give you like the statistical potential for each diagnosis or something through that. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense for like mission critical things. Do you want to just trust one model, or would you like to run a bunch of simulations through a whole bunch of models? I just think it's an architecture problem. Like, how do you implement it? How do you actually make sure it's doing the right thing? It's easy on a puzzle because you can know what's the right answer, right? You can it's a little harder when the right answers are less clear.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more thing that I just saw come across today. Maybe it actually came out yesterday, but I didn't see it till today. And we'll not talk the politics of it, but maybe just the repercussions of it. And is that the White House just launched something called the Genesis mission. So this is essentially, a Manhattan project for AI. So the Department of Energy will build a national AI platform on top of US supercomputers and federal science data, train scientific foundation models, and run AI agents plus robotic labs to automate experiments in biotech, critical materials, nuclear fission/fusion, space, quantum, and semiconductors.
Dang, that's tight.
So yeah, I mean, it talks about like using AI in robotics, AI agents. There's a whole bunch of things kind of mentioned in this, but it has the timeline is very aggressive. So within 60 days, they need a list of all the challenges. In 90 days, they need a full inventory of federal compute network storage for Genesis. 120 days, they need an initial model plus data assets, plus a plan to ingest more data sets, which could be using other agencies, academia, private sector. In 240 days, map all robotic labs and automated facilities across national labs. And then 270 days, demonstrate initial operating capability on at least one challenge, one of their challenges that they list in the first 60 days. So it's less than 9 months to basically spin up a functioning AI for science loop.
Dude, who made those milestones? Me? Like, what the heck? That's going to take them so long.
Yeah, it seems aggressive. Can't imagine they're going to hit it, but you got to set your sights high if you want to accomplish big things.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it's
Good
to
luck
make
down there.
Yeah, maybe it's just to make the market go up again, because there was so much fear about the AI bubble, and now it's basically telling like the White House is doing it, so the bubble is still intact. More money, please.
I do think, to that point, it's probably going to increase like government spending into private sector, or honestly, probably just more money to existing government contractors. That's probably where the money's going to flow. Hopefully not, but ideally that it would flow to private sectors that are trying to innovate in these, across these different areas. To, if you're going to spend the money, hopefully it helps private sector companies that are building interesting things in the space.
If anybody from the White House is watching, talk to Shane.
Yeah, hey, just send me the RF, P. Maybe we'll put in a bid. You never know.
Hit us up, White House.
Yeah. Whoever's watching from the White House, you can
Join
find
our
me.
Discord.
Come into our Discord. Yeah, I mean, but it is. I have had some conversations around people doing things in government in general. So I do think that this is probably going to increase that, right? So if you're a service provider already providing government, services, you likely might find more opportunities now because there's maybe some more budget that wasn't there before.
Yeah, I think Canada might actually, they announced something recently, something kind of similar to, like, I don't know the details, but basically like a nationwide AI building project.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's going to be across a lot of different countries trying to figure out what their strategy is. Sebastian, is that the actual RFC? If that is it, that that's cool.
No,
No,
there's no way. 1337. Then that's a great number.
I don't think it actually is. This is a long show, guys. Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Is this the one you wanted to do for 24 hours straight?
Yeah, I'm not going to be here, but you're welcome to
22
stay
to go,
on.
Dennis.
Yeah, you're welcome to stay on. I'll hand over admin controls and let you do it. But yeah, this is our 50th episode of AI Agents Hour. So we'll maybe do for those of you, if you have a favorite moment, we'll do a quick round table. If you've either watched or obviously you've all been on before, but then we'll start to wrap up. So today we've had Tony from Runloop come in and show a sweet demo of how you can use Mastra with Runloop sandboxes or dev boxes. That was really cool. More to come from that, I'm sure. We had Ward on earlier in our Phone a Farmer segment. He's the founding farmer of Mastra. And we talked through what the 1.0 looks like, the migration path, some of the big changes and things like that. We had Grayson from the Mastra team come on and talk about an agent in every Slack, what the future of talking to agents might look like, show a demo of the workshop he's going to do next week, where if you come to the workshop, he'll teach you how to turn a Mastra agent and get it live in your Slack. You can build it yourself. Also, if you want, you can also sign up for you can get access to the feature flag. So if you just want to use Mastra Cloud and turn an agent and add it to your Slack immediately without writing the code yourself. So multiple options there. But we had Grayson come on.
Also, you should watch the movie Smart House.
Yeah.
That's another thing you should do.
The Smart House we talked about,
Yeah, I looked it up. LeVar Burton is the director.
It's got to be
curious as to what it was.
It's got to be good.
It's fire, dude. Yeah. Watch it.
And then we talked about all the AI news. We talked about Opus. We talked about Gemini 3. We talked about a whole bunch of other things. And that's a show. So everyone, roundtable, favorite thing about the show, and maybe something you're excited that's coming in the future that we can hopefully talk about on the show. So something you're working on at Mastra, something you want other people to know is coming. Let's if you somehow stuck around with us for this long, maybe you'll get some like insights into what's coming next.
Who's first?
So I'll go first so everyone can think. My favorite moment of the show was an episode I was not even on, and it was when we had Ward's horse and goats on the show, because that was kind of funny. Like if you tuned into a live stream and you saw there's a horse on here, you probably wouldn't know what you're tuning into because you expected to learn about AI agents, and instead you saw goats and horses. But I think that's one of the things I like about the show is we kind of keep it pretty casual. We try to make it fun. We try to teach you some stuff. We're learning a lot every day. We're definitely, it might seem like we're the experts, but this stuff's changing really fast, and we do what we can to hopefully learn. And this is a good forcing function for us to be more educated, but hopefully share some of what we're learning with you all that are maybe watching. And then I'll answer this question while you all battle of who's going to talk next. How many people on the Mastra team? I don't know the exact numbers. We're over 20 now, though, so we're getting bigger. All right,
I can go next. I don't know if I have a favorite moment, but what I really like about the show is like just the fun things between like you, Shane, and Abhi. Like where you just in the beginning you just bicker about things like those. And I think because I always listen to the podcast or like the stream, and the only at one time that I actually wanted to watch is when Abhi had my picture as his background. And you talked about it. I was like, what? What are they talking about? So I popped up YouTube and looked at the the background. So that was funny.
So Ward, here's the question, and this is going to circle back to something I've said 3 or 4 times today, as it's our 50th episode and we're trying to get 50 reviews. You listen to it on like Apple Podcasts or what?
No, Spotify.
Have you given us a review?
Can you? I give you 5 stars or something that I.
You don't even know. This is the problem. The founding farmer himself has not reviewed the show.
Dude,
I don't know. Can you?
I don't know. I'm about to kick Ward out of this call here. I've only said it on the show 1,000 times. No one listens to me. This thing's chaos. You got no control.
I didn't know you could do it on Spotify.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't know how you do it, but you can give it a review, I think.
You can give it 5 stars, but I don't think you can do it.
Did you give it 5 stars?
Of course.
Okay.
No, I did 1, right?
All right, Daniel or you, John, or Nick? Who's next?
I can go. Let's see. I think my favorite moment was when it was like Daniel, myself, and Tyler. We were just on. I don't know. This was a way back, and we sort of had to fill
early
in.
Episodes.
Yeah, we sort of had to fill in because I believe Shane and Abhi were out of town. It was a good experience. You know, it's kind of like whenever like I used to work at a coffee shop, and then it would just be like. It's kind of felt like my coworkers were working, and then like the supervisors are left. It's like, oh, we can say whatever we want here, okay? So that moment kind of shined, even though they could watch the stream and all. But yeah, sorry, what was the second half? It was like
well, what's something you're looking forward to in Mastra that's coming up? Like either something you're working on, something you're looking forward to, something maybe. Don't tell all our secrets, but we can tell a little bit here.
Yeah. Okay. I think the biggest one for myself is I've been studying a lot about like error analysis and how to, see how your agents are going to in production, how to have more, faith in that. So we actually have planning an evals or kind of an error analysis workshop at the end of December. So I'm really excited for that. It'll be myself and Alex, and if anyone is interested in that, feel free to join.
Yeah, sign up for the Luma calendar.
Hell yeah!
All right, Daniel, you're up.
Favorite moment, probably same thing that YJ was talking about. Just like me, him, and Tyler just on the stream. I think we were just like pairing on something. Like we were just fixing bugs on the stream. That was pretty fun. It was just kind of like. I don't know. I mean, that's what we do like pretty regularly also, but it was just kind of interesting environment to do it like while people are watching. Like you feel like a little self-conscious, like everybody's just judging you as you are making dumb mistakes.
We should bring back those types of episodes.
Yeah,
at
least bring back sections of it here and there. I think that those kind of things were fun. I mean, it's just, we all get busy and we just fall into the weekly cadence, but we could definitely do some other stuff too.
Yeah, but we do like pairing sessions with our teams as well. So maybe we can just put those on. So instead of just doing it with 3, we just do it with the world. which I think we did in EU time zone as well, Abhi. When you were here, we just did like bug bashing, fumble, stumble. I don't know what you want. Yeah.
Dude, someone messaged me in Discord saying like, "Hey, I really missed the fumble, stumbling, and bumbling." Oh yeah, thanks, dude.
All right.
Who's next?
Yeah. Did you say what you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, what I'm looking forward to. I guess we can talk about observational memory. That's cat's out of the bag?
We can talk about new memory coming up.
New memory.
Yeah, we got something new coming.
Yeah, it's
improving
basically
memory.
the Manhattan Project for memory, for AI memory.
Yeah, I mean we think our memory's pretty great, but we're cooking up something even better.
Yeah, and as I get older, my memory gets worse, so this is going to be helpful.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
Just need some funding from the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the White House, you're listening, and you want some really good agent memory, we're cooking something up. We have something for you.
All right, who's next?
Yes, I'm Jordan. I guess my favorite live stream moment was, I think it was you, it was Abhi, me, and Ward. We were in, I think we were in Belgium in like some random hotel.
We were in a dungeon.
The dungeon,
Yeah.
in a dungeon for like the whole live stream. There's a bunch of random stuff in the background. We were like bug bashing, talking about AI news, and the whole time it's just a bunch of the most random stuff behind us. That was a good time.
We've had some shows in random locations. Like Abhi, you've done it in an airport.
Yep.
We did it in the bar. That was probably one of my favorite episodes, where we did we live streamed from a bar in San Francisco, and a bunch of people, we had an on-site, a bunch of people from the team just popped in and said hello. Yeah, from a hotel. You know, the show must go on, even if we're not in a normal location.
What are you looking forward to?
Looking forward to server adapter, and that's getting unleashed.
Indeed.
Very soon, server adapters.
All right, I'll bring us home. Favorite episode was probably the one at the bar. That was fun because there were so many people there. But then there's this one that me and Ward did where we didn't record audio for the first 10 minutes. So we actually started the whole episode again. And I'll always remember that one.
Yeah, we tried to say exactly the same things.
Yeah, it just didn't work that well.
Yeah, I mean, I joke that we don't know what the hell we're doing, you know? We're just figuring it out, but we're here. We keep doing it.
Looking forward to V1. So that's it.
V1. It's coming. It is getting close. And with that, I think we should wrap up. So
Yep. Also, I know this is no horse, but Tim wants to say hi.
Yeah. Bring on the animals. I saw, Abhi, you had a dog in the background?
Yeah,
Is it Roxy? Or your brother's dog. Nice. I don't have my dog's not nearby, but let's go ahead and wrap up. This thing's gone off the rails. It's gone off the rails long enough. It's been a great show, though.
This is what you get for getting like 5+ of us on.
Yeah. But this is
50th episode. Gotta do it.
This is the 50th episode. There's many more to come. If you like this show, please go give us a review. Like us give us a like on YouTube, subscribe, do all the things. Follow me and Abhi. You can see it on the screen here on X. And we will see you next time. Next Monday, most likely. Maybe another day, but probably on Monday around noon Pacific. We'll see you all back here. This is AI Agents Hour. See y'all later.
Peace.
See ya.
Happy Thanksgiving.